Back to the grind with the only free MMA channel that fucking matters, full-time MMA. And we're finally back to the Ultimate Fighter recaps. My bad about the delay. I'm a couple episodes behind, but we're getting to all that shit today. Didn't mean to do that. Anyways, let's get to it. Episode 8 of the Ultimate Fighter Season 25 Redemption. If you remember in the last episode, Hyder Hassan beat Joe Daddy Stevenson in the wildcard fight to come back into the tournament, and he knocked him out in 18 seconds because Joe Stevenson had fought again prior to that, like the day before, but he got brought back because he was the only guy on Team Dillashaw to lose, so they brought him back, and he lost again. And then Tom Galicchio fought Justin Edwards in the first fight of the next round. Tom submitted Justin in just over a minute. Tom Galicchio, Toothless Tom, that's Toothless Tom. He's one of my favorite guys on this show. This episode, Team Dillashaw has teammates fighting. Gilbert Hard Work Smith versus Diego Bellator Brother Lima. I call him the Bellator brother because his brother Douglas Lima is the welterweight champion over at Bellator, so for whatever that's worth. So this does get into an interesting situation though, because these guys are teammates. They have the same coach and head coach in TJ Dillashaw. So he'll be working with both guys. So let's say TJ had a favorite. Let's say TJ liked Gilbert better or Diego better. He would like Gilbert's a wrestler, Diego's a striker. Let's say, oh yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not saying he liked either one better. I'm just saying you see what could happen if a coach had a favorite. Like, oh, since these guys don't know each other very well, yeah, don't worry. Diego's got a whack ass left high kick. You don't gotta worry about having your right hand up, and then clang, fucking just necks his ass. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that's gonna happen. It is just interesting though, because these guys are different types of people, so it would be natural if TJ Dillashaw was, more not attracted, but he was into one more than the other. He was interested in one more than the other. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched for him to have a favorite. That's all I'm saying. So that's just an interesting situation, since a lot of these guys are on the same team from Team Dillashaw. I believe there's only 2 people left from the red team, Team Cody, and that's the one guy that actually won his fight, and then whoever came back and beat Joseph Stevenson, Hyder Hassan. So now let's get to it. Let's get to these 2 guys. Diego's better on the feet. Gilbert's the wrestler. Diego's going to need to control the distance and use his jab and kicks, TJ says. Gilbert's going to have to pressure forward and try and get Diego to the ground with that hard work, dedication. Hard work, dedication. Gilbert, hard work. Fuck you tell me, dude. Anyways, Cody's team, they don't have anything better to do since they're not training for a fight this episode, so they start doing pranks and shit. Neither one. They got so many guys, they got 2 people left out of fucking 8, so since they're not fighting this episode, they're putting tape on the posters. I think I'm gonna fuck around and I'm gonna try and find like a red snake tongue to put on TJ for this picture. Anyways, they're putting they're putting red tape on all of TJ's pictures in the house to look like a snake tongue. And then they also fucking put red tape over his nipples. They say, think about all the kids watching. They don't need to see that. Talking about his man tits. That shit is pretty funny. TJ Dillashaw said he didn't want to be the bitch in the way, so he had to prank their asses back. He did something that was blurred out, and I didn't rewind it because I didn't really catch it, but it wasn't very noticeable. He put like just a bitch Cody or something on the wall, and it wasn't very. They only panned on it for like fucking 5 seconds. It wasn't that serious. Cody Garbrandt's gonna come and take boys to a steakhouse. This is gonna be their entertainment for this episode. They takes him to a steakhouse in a party bus. He's hanging with the boys. Everyone's enjoying themselves on the party bus, man. Everyone's having a good time, drinking a little bit, maybe drinking a lot of bit. But except for Gilbert, though. Gilbert hard work. He's just sitting in the corner to himself, by himself. Like, fuck this, man. I'm focused on my fight. I got a fight coming up. You guys are fucking doing the Jersey Shore dancing and shit. Julian Lane, let me bang, bro. And Jesse Taylor, fucking crazy party animal dude. Jesse Taylor, both the party animals were even having fun for once this season. This whole season everyone's been being adults because they're grown now. This is redemption. They're not here to fucking be Jersey Shore and go crazy, real world. these guys are here to, actually redeem themselves. But they're actually having a little bit of fun on the party bus, so that was fun to see. But Gilbert's in the corner, though, just chilling, just looking. I don't know what the hell. Well, I know what he's doing. He's just over there not into it. He is not excited about what's going on. He's more excited about the fact he's in the quarterfinals. So they're going to a restaurant. Cody Garbrandt takes them to a restaurant. When they get out the party bus, they go to a place it's called a hibachi. The fucking chefs were throwing like eggs and catching them in their hats and shit, and throwing food in people's mouths and lighting shit on fire. It looks pretty fucking dope, man. I mean, I know what they are. I've heard of them and shit, but yeah, it looks fun as hell. Joe Stevenson, he gives a bro toast to everybody. He's like, "Cheers to the best Ultimate Fighter show I've ever been involved in. It's been amazing, guys." Like, just selling it. And he already lost twice this season, like, in a row, quick fashion. Like, I was like, damn, Joe Stevenson, damn. It's good to see he's a good sport. He was a good sport. He lost twice this season. He's still having fun, still hanging with the boys. But Gilbert, though, he's still not having fun. He's still not into it. He's still not excited. He gets up and excuses himself from the table, and it's like he gently walks away from the table, slowly walks away from the table, and then hits a full sprint toward the bathroom. Runs to the bathroom. They take the camera in the bathroom to see what he's doing. He's in there fucking shadow boxing and jogging and shit. And he went to the camera. He said he don't want to celebrate early. He'll celebrate after he wins the fight. He's ready to train. He's focused on his fight. That's actually good to hear. I mean, it's cool. I mean, and it's not like everyone. Out of all these people, he has like one of the most different personalities of everyone on the show. So he would fit into this group the least of, the Team Alpha Male type party. Not even partying. I'm not saying Team Alpha Male guys are partying, but like Julian Lane and Cody Garbrandt hanging with the boys. This guy, Gilbert Smith is just a whole different type of dude than these guys. So, I mean, I'm not mad at him going and focusing shadow boxing in the bathroom while everyone's out there fucking having fun. I mean, I would have been out there at the table enjoying myself personally, but I'm not motherfucking Gilbert Smith. And that's, shut the hell up if you got a problem with it, dude. It was funny, though. It was funny whenever he got up and, like, slowly walked away. And then he just ran to the bathroom. Like, everyone was like, is he running? In the restaurant to the bathroom. Now, so TJ gets to talking afterwards. They leave the hibachi and stuff. They're back at the gym. And he said, man, I'm just going to embrace Team Snake. He said it's a little played out, honestly. It's not very original, but hey, fuck it. It's fun. Jesse Taylor's like, hey, I'm part of Team Killershaw. I'm Team Snake, too. He said snakes are vicious. I like snakes. So this is where they're really accepting the snake role, really accepting it. They get to showing Diego training a little bit with TJ. TJ says Diego dark horse. He said he's really easy to coach, and he wants to be coached. And if you think about it, coaches favor the student that listens. Let's say you have two students, and one of your students, you tell him, throw the right and then the left, and he throws a right and then a left. And you tell your other student, throw a right and then a left, and he throws a right and then a right. And you're like, I literally just told you to throw a right and a left. You're going to try and teach more to the guy that's throwing the right and the left. You're gonna favor that guy. So let's say these guys get into a fight. You're going to tell him, hey, he doesn't throw that fucking left, I'm telling you. He always throws the right and the right, so watch for the right and the right. And then the other guy, you might not tell him as much because you don't think he's going to listen. And so, I mean, it's not your fault as a coach. It might be the guy who's set in his ways who doesn't want to listen. But I'm just saying, coaches favor the students that listen. That was my point with that. And so, it's fight time after that. Gilbert actually walked up for a second. He was like, hey, I told you, you guys are you're going to favor him. Are you playing favorites? And TJ's like, no, dude, I'm just telling him the same thing I'd tell you. Watch for your strengths and shit like that. But now it's fight time. Honestly, I'm rooting for Diego Lima going into this fight because he's, in a fighting family. His brother's the Bellator champion. And Gilbert, he's just me, kind of like the other guys. Like I said, I would have been at the table at the motherfucking hibachi catching fucking shit from the chef and hanging with the boys. So I'm rooting for Diego Lima. He seemed like a really cool dude when he talks. I think he's a cool guy. Seems like a good fighter. He's probably definitely a more entertaining fighter. He's a striker. He's probably in my head he's going to be more well-rounded because he comes from a family of fighting. So it just seems like before the fight someone I would root for. I'm rooting for him. So now let's get into the fight. Gilbert Hardwork Smith is 12-6. Diego Lima is 12-5. Watched round one. It wasn't too. Round one was the most boring round of the fight. Gilbert had 2 takedowns and some good ground and pound. Diego showed some good takedown defense. He stopped 1 takedown, but he didn't stop the next 2. But I definitely gave that round to Gilbert. I mean, Diego, whenever Gilbert shot in for the takedown, Diego went for that little hammer fist that everyone does if somebody's trying to lock their hands behind your back or behind your legs. You're trying to get the hammer fist or whatever. So he had a little hammer fist, but I don't think those. And I'm only talking about these because at the end of the fight, Dana White was like, yeah, in the first round, Diego scored some vicious hammer fist. And it's like, yeah, a knee is a lot more vicious to a wrestler when they shoot him for a takedown than the hammer fist after they're going for locking their hands. So that was, to me, definitely Gilbert won the first round. It was close though, so if they gave, you definitely would have seen worse decisions if you're going off the first round. If someone gave the first round to Diego, it's not like Gilbert did major damage, but he did score 2 takedowns, and Diego didn't really do much of anything. So now in the second round, Gilbert's winning the first 3 rounds in my opinion again. They're winning the first 3 minutes. So I have Gilbert winning the first round and the first 3 minutes of the second round. So in my opinion, at that point, Diego needed to step up. He had to show some urgency because he had been taken down twice this round as well, twice in the first round, and Gilbert was controlling the center of the octagon. Gilbert was the one coming forward, even though he wasn't the striker. He was pressuring forward. Not even though he wasn't the striker, but I'm saying it's like he was coming forward with strikes. Gilbert wasn't coming for takedowns coming forward. He was coming forward. I don't know. Gilbert was fighting a good fight to me. So Gilbert was winning with the 4 takedowns to that point. Diego wasn't coming forward, wasn't showing urgency, but Diego had clipped Gilbert once or twice in these 2 rounds. Like, Gilbert was on wobbly legs one time. But honestly, there was a few times on the ground in this fight where Diego had to be warned by Big John about illegal hits on the ground, hits to the back of the head, and elbows to the back of the head and shit. And one of those, it looked like after Gilbert got up, was what wobbled him. But still, Diego landed a good shot or 2. But in my opinion, I thought the judges were going to read Gilbert winning unanimous decision. And it comes back, they're going to sudden death. So I was like, okay, maybe they gave round 1 to Diego, even though, because it was a boring round and wasn't much action, and they didn't, I don't know, but they made it go to sudden death, round 3. That was the first time that had happened this season, so I was like, fuck it, let's see what happens, because it's interesting, because before the fight, Gilbert's coaches were saying, all we need is 10 minutes, 10 minutes, baby, 10 minutes, and then the fight ends up being 15 minutes, and so he's like, do you got 5 more minutes in you, and he said he does, but I was like, damn. Is he tired? He is a wrestler, but it was only 2 rounds, so I'm sure he could have handled it. Because he came out there, and he looked good in the 3rd round. Gilbert looked good again. I thought he was going to be tired, but he actually looked pretty good. He came out firing, but he came out, still firing shots. Like, in the first minute, he came out still. Wasn't taking deep breaths. He came out there still coming forward. But Diego actually had a sense of urgency now. He was a lot more active. He was fighting like he knew he was down on the cards and putting pressure on Gilbert. Or he knew that it was a tie fight since they just got to sudden death. So if he wins this round, he figures he wins the whole fight. So Diego's a lot more active now. He's taking the center of the octagon, throwing strikes. Gilbert's, you can tell he's a little more tired. He's a little less, of course, in the first 2 rounds because he's not controlling the octagon anymore. He's not in the center of the octagon anymore, pressuring him. But Gilbert still scores another takedown. But they get right back up, and Diego scores his own takedown, a nice double leg. I was like, damn, Gilbert might not have enough energy to really do anything about this one because Diego had him in a good position, but Gilbert exploded out of it, but he turned into a triangle choke by Diego Lima. But unfortunately for Diego Lima, Gilbert was able to get out, got to mount, took Diego's back. Diego got out of that. They stood up, and but they went at it for like the last 20, 30 seconds, like just straight strike, like a nice little exchange, just back and forth, back and forth. And then the scorecard came in, and I had actually given that round to Diego because he scored a big takedown. He controlled position for about a minute on the ground. He was actually pressuring the round in the beginning of the fight. He was controlling the center of the octagon, and both guys landed some big shots on the feet in the third round. And since they gave both rounds, since they had it a split going into this round, they called the fight for Diego, and I wasn't mad at it because the first 2 rounds could have went to Gilbert, but since there was a sudden death to even be at all, it lets you know that the judges had it 1-1. So that means if whoever wins round 3 wins the fight, and Diego won round 3. So after that, Gilbert Smith, he gives the guy an emotional, heartfelt speech. He actually seemed just like a really good dude, man. He thanked TJ, he thanked Cody, thanked everyone for being a part of the season, for the hard competition, and he laid the gloves in the octagon. And he said he was happy to retire there, man. And that was a good little shit, man. It was some good stuff. And so yeah, man, that was the end of that fight. Gilbert went ahead and retired in the ring, man, and he could have won that fight. He was very close to winning that fight, but Diego Lima moves on to the next episode. And I don't exactly know who's in the next episode right now because I pressed pause on the movie and I got to recording this shit before I even seen like the last 5 minutes. But I'm gonna watch that, and then I'm about to watch the next episode since I'm a little behind anyway. So it'll be out soon. It'll be out today. Fuck it. I don't know what to say, man. It is what it is. Let the haters know what the fuck you tap in the comments, dude.